Welcome to day number 4. You have made it for 3 days so far, so we give God some praise for that because it's a big deal if you actually have been doing it. So this chapter today is don't pray away. Yesterday for day 3, we were challenged with the question of, do I want God more or do I want me more? Am I ready and willing to put myself away so that God can get the glory? And that's perfect to lead into what day number 4 is talking about. Because if we meditated on Shakira's questions yesterday and asked ourselves, what are those things that we want, or what are those baby steps that we have to do, then we will be able to answer today's prompt. Have you ever had an experience with God where you're crying out to Him and asking Him, why me? Keep it real. Why me, Lord? Why do I have to go through this? Why does my mom have to be like this? Why can't I have the family like this person? Or why can't my school be like this? Or whatever your why question is. Today in day 4, God addressed that very thing. John chapter 9 verse 3 says, here begins the reading of God's holy word. This happened so that the works of God might be displayed in Him. In who? In God. So the answer to your why question is that happened because God wants to get the glory. God wants to show Himself in that situation. We open up the chapter with this drastic account, which is heartbreaking, and it's a miracle at the same time, about a boy who fell out the window and he survived. He had brain damage, but he survived. And you could imagine the posture of the mother saying, why? Why my son, Lord? Why did my son have to fall out the window? Now, this is a tragic thing. And for the answer to be, so that I can get the glory, that might be a little tough. That might be a little rough to swallow. But if we did what Shakira said and get ourselves out the way and say, God, you're number one, then we will be able to swallow that. Even as small or as big as the thing may seem, we're able to say, you know what, God, if you're going to get the glory out of it, I'm okay with it. So don't pray away the problem because you might be praying away the glory of God. If every time a situation comes up in my life and I say, God, take it away, when the reason why I'm going through it is so that God can get the glory, what I'm really saying is, God, don't get the glory. But in actuality, I know that there's a hunger inside of you, inside of all of us, that wants God to get the utmost glory out of everything we do. So stop praying away. Now, don't get me wrong. I love what the author says on page 34. So turn your books to page 34. Where your book at? Turn your paper to page 34. And it says, sometimes the purpose of prayer is to get out of circumstances. So don't get me wrong. But more often than not, the purpose of prayer is to get us through them. I'm not suggesting we shouldn't pray deliverance prayers, but there are times when we need to pray prevailing prayers. We need to ask God to give us the grace to sustain, the strength to stand firm, and the willpower to keep on keeping on. When we're focused on God, then He can get the glory out of us. Our own personal comfort comes last, and God's glory comes first. So the question for you today, what comes first in my life? My comfort or God's glory? My comfort or God's glory? I can give God glory in my school building, but I'd rather be cool. My comfort is more important than being a Jesus freak and having people laugh at me. That's a real thing, a real question, even on my job. I can give God glory or I can compromise. So look at some areas in your life where you've been compromising. Me too. We all do. We all fall short. But God's grace is abundant and is able. So John 9 says that this happened so that the works of God might be displayed. Think of a problem that you've gone through, the biggest thing in your life, and don't pray it away. Pray through it because His grace is sufficient. Draw the circle. And remember, see, you gotta be ready. Sometimes God delivers us from our problems. Sometimes God delivers us through our problems. Draw the circle. Boom.